with national security analyst and the chairwoman for actforamerica.org, Brigitte Gabriel. Welcome to you both.
Morning.
Thank you.
General, regarding this missile exchange that's happened this week between Pakistan and India, they're both nuclear powers, we know. The White House has claimed that it has secured a ceasefire, which I think is really good news. India, Pakistan have since confirmed this. How do you see the situation unfolding moving forward?
Yeah, look, this is the greatest news. I did not think I would wake up to hear that we had a ceasefire. In fact, I thought I'd wake up to see that we had something far worse on our hands. It got really steep really quickly on the conflict escalation spiral, TW, and so they're already stopping. I think both powers in the country understand how explosive and devastating this could get really quick. So one of those confidence measures I have that it's not just a lip service ceasefire is that Pakistan has already reopened its airspace to commercial air traffic. But if you start to take a look at what they need to do internally now, they absolutely have to button down the terror groups that operate from Pakistani soil. We have to look into what was the Chinese role in all of this, the People's Liberation Army, and then Turkey. Turkey was supplying Pakistan and wanted to supply Pakistan with a resupply of drones. They announced that yesterday. So that's not really helpful. So we're going to see what happens from here, but tremendously good news overnight.
Well, I think, President Trump's doctrine of peace through strength is certainly paying off. But I want to pivot a little bit, Brigitte, back to Iran. How close do you think President Trump is to getting, Iran to shut down their nuclear weapons?
Well, he is definitely trying, and the Iranians are stalling. Obviously, we are going into the fourth round of talks tomorrow in Oman. And you have to understand one thing about the Iranians. The Iranians have always believed that America is the great Satan. Israel is the little Satan. So they don't even recognize us. However, at this point, they have to negotiate with us because they can see Hezbollah has obliterated in Lebanon. Hamas is attacked. They don't have any inroads in Syria anymore to smuggle weapons to Lebanon. America's hitting the Houthis. And even the Houthis said they are ready to negotiate with the United States. They signed the deal. So the Iranians have no other options but to come to the table, but they are stalling. And President Trump understands that no matter what the Iranians says, he doesn't really trust them. And this is exactly why we have a third aircraft carrier on the way to the Gulf. He already supplied the Israelis with whatever weapons they need. Right now, we are going through the diplomatic route so he can say, we gave diplomacy a try. If the Iranians don't agree with it, tough if we have to go to war, but we gave diplomacy a try.
Yeah, I think President Trump is committed to diplomacy for sure. General Holt, President Trump really has a good track record. The track record, if you think about it, of holding other countries accountable. And accountability is so important as we move forward. And one example was really pulling out of the disastrous Obama-era nuclear deal. And also, he was very clear to bomb the Houthi terrorist camps in Tehran. Is the president doing enough to get a deal done at this point?
He absolutely is. He's backed up by a very big stick. There was some sort of social media excitement about the B-2s were leaving Diego Garcia to go to their home base. That's just a rotation. There's B-52s all over the planet, and we can strike Iranian targets straight from Whiteman Air Base. So they shouldn't take comfort in that. But Ambassador Witkoff perhaps added the most intrigue here last night. He said that as they go into this fourth round, if there's not progress on the fourth round, they understand what Iran's doing. They know they're trying to kick the can to where they can do a nuclear weapons test. And honestly, this isn't about delaying their ability to be a nuclear weapon state. This is, you don't get a nuclear weapon. And we'll make sure that happens by any means possible. So nobody should mistake kindness for weakness in President Trump's approach. He'll do diplomacy, but there's a firewall end to that. The other thing we got to watch very carefully is this diplomatic schism that seems to have developed over the week with Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump. There's something there of an intelligence quality that we can't see, but we have to watch it very carefully as the president goes forward into the Middle East to work with the Arab nations.
No, I think you're exactly right. General Blaine Holt, Brigitte Gabriel, we appreciate you both. Thank you.
Take care,
Thank
TW.
you.